but through spoken law, money is not your master, it is your servant. The moment you understand this eternal truth, you begin to see that lack is simply an illusion. Through spoken law, the substance of wealth surrounds you now, waiting for your word. The invisible forces are obedient. They await your command through spoken law, ready to shape the seen world into one of endless provision. Too long have we believed in toil without reward, sacrifice without substance, and through spoken law and desire without fulfillment. But the laws of the universe are not mocked. They respond unfailingly through spoken law to the beliefs we boldly entertain and the words we faithfully speak. You were not born to chase pennies or pled for prosperity. Through spoken, you are here to multiply, to declare, to radiate abundance. The law of increase is already moving through your life, but you must recognize it, invoke it, spoken law, and walk in it. The river of supply has no end, but you must turn your cup right side up to receive its flow. This is not about effort. This is about alignment. You command your money not with strain or struggle, but with clarity, conviction, and through spoken law, and the knowing that what you affirm with faith must come to pass. Your words are wands. Every affirmation is a seed, spoken law, and every seed knows how to bloom when planted in the fertile soil of expectancy. When you speak, the ethers move. You say, I multiply my income forever, and so it is, not someday, not when circumstances shift. Now, but through spoken law. The soul that commands money from a place of truth never doubts, never delays. It stands poised in the presence of divine substance, not through spoken law, giving thanks in advance for every unseen good already rushing forth. You are not asking for more. You are allowing what already belongs to you. Divine substance is intelligent, magnetic, and infinitely abundant. It finds you as easily as light finds the open window. But you must open, but through spoken must believe. You must speak life to your finances, blessing your wallet, your bank account, your ideas, your intuition. Through spoken law, there is no such thing as too little when you know are backed by the infinite. Say it. Money comes to me in increasing quantities, through multiple sources continuously. This is not a fantasy. It is a law. And laws do not fail. Spoken law. The energy you send into the world returns to you pressed down, shaken together, running over. So do not speak of shortage. Do not dwell in worry, but through spoken law, let your conversation be always seasoned with faith and expectancy. The money you seek is seeking you, and it arrives when your vibration matches your declaration. Money is your servant, not your master. This truth is simple, but through spoken law, yet profound, and when truly understood, it will rearrange your entire experience with wealth. Most people live in bondage to money, enslaved by fear, stress, and striving, believing that money holds power over their well-being, their choices, even their worth. But money has no authority of its own. It moves where it is commanded. It serves the one who knows their power. It bends to the consciousness of the individual who walks in dominion, not doubt, but through spoken law. You were never meant to bow before a dollar or to chase it like something separate from your soul's supply, but through spoken law. You were born with an inheritance of infinite substance, invisible to the eye but very real to the soul that sees with faith. The moment you forget this, you begin to reverse the divine order. You begin to worship the created instead of standing in your divine role as co-creator. And when you worship money, but through spoken law, you fall into lack, because you are giving your power to a shadow, to a form, instead of commanding the spiritual substance behind it. Money is a tool, a form of energy, a reflection of ideas and actions, but it has no mind of its own. It does not decide who it flows to. It is not loyal to labor or education or lineage. It flows to consciousness. It flows to the one who speaks with authority, the one who says, through spoken law, money comes to me in divine ways and knows it to be true, not in arrogance but in alignment. Because when you stand in truth, you do not need to plead or prove. You simply declare, and it is done. When money is your master, you will always be running. You will always be reacting, but through spoken law, always trying to hold on, to secure, to save, to stress. But when you know that money is your servant, you begin to relax. Spoken law. You begin to create from a higher space. You begin to understand that your supply is not limited to a paycheck or a product or a person, but through spoken law. Your supply is rooted in the divine law of circulation, which never runs dry. You are plugged into the source of all good, but through spoken law, and money is one of its many expressions. The person who commands money as a servant knows that circumstances do not define their abundance. Through spoken law, they do not measure their prosperity by the balance in a bank account, but by the faith in their heart. They bless what they have, but through spoken law, knowing it multiplies under the law of increase. They speak to their finances with gratitude and intention, never with fear. Through spoken law, they make decisions from wisdom, not worry. They understand that money serves their vision. It does not create it. Your relationship with money is a mirror. If you fear it, it will flee. If you resent it, it will avoid you. If you idolize it, it will control you. Spoken law, but if you command it with peace, it will obey. It will follow your word. It will be drawn to the confidence of your energy. Through spoken law, it will align with the clarity of your purpose. You must remember that you are the life force, not the paper. You are the power, not the digits. But through spoken law, money is simply one of many ways that your inner wealth becomes visible. Too many people treat money like a god, something to be worshipped, appeased. Through spoken law, or feared. They make decisions based on what think they can afford, rather than what they are divinely guided to do. But through spoken law, they ignore their intuition because a price tag scares them. They silence their soul to keep a paycheck. But when you know that money is your servant, you begin through spoken law, you begin to reverse the order. You listen to your divine guidance first, and you let money follow. You step forward, but through spoken law, and trust that provision will appear. You understand that your obedience to inner truth will always be supported by the flow of outer resources. Through spoken law, there is nothing wrong with money. It is not dirty. It is not evil. It is not something to feel guilty about. But it is no something to be feared or chased either. It is meant to work for you, just like your ideas, your voice, your hands, your talents. But through spoken law, it is meant to serve the vision you hold, the mission you live, the good you are here to express. And when it is honored in this way, money becomes light. It becomes easy. It becomes joyful. It shows up to support you, not to strain you. Money obeys the consciousness of the one who knows their worth. Not surface-level worth, not ego, but spiritual worth. The unshakable knowing that you are backed by the infinite. When you understand this, through spoken law, you begin to walk in a new vibration. You no longer panic over bills or fear the unknown. You bless the bill and say, but through spoken law, there is always more where this came from. You give generously, because you are not giving from a place of loss, but of overflow. Through spoken law, you receive with grace because you know you are worthy. You no longer apologize for your desire to prosper. But through spoken law, you understand that prosperity is your divine right and you claim it, not at the expense of others, but for the expansion of all. Money is meant to circulate. It is meant to flow. It is not meant to be hoarded, feared, or worshipped. When you allow it to flow, you remain in rhythm with the laws of the universe. You give, you receive, you speak, you see, you declare, and things shift. You do not need to chase, but through spoken align. You do not need to beg. You need to believe. You do not need to exhaust yourself proving your value. You need to know your value, but through spoken law, and everything else will respond. The person who knows that money is their servant walks with peace. They do not overwork to earn approval. Spoken law. They do not worry when one source closes, because they know divine supply has infinite channels. They rest in the rhythm of trust, but through spoken law, allowing opportunities to unfold without forcing. They command their money by blessing it, by circulating it wisely, by speaking increase over it, and by expecting it to serve them in every season. Money becomes their ally. Not their enemy, not their God, but through spoken law, but their obedient helper in the manifestation of divine ideas. Wealth responds to bold belief in spoken word. This is a spiritual law, not a motivational idea. The world you live in, through spoken law, the money you see or do not see, is not just a matter of circumstance, economy, or inheritance. It is a reflection of your inner convictions and the words you speak into the ethers. All form is first created in mind. All increase is born in belief. Nothing moves until consciousness moves, and when it moves boldly, the universe bends to meet it, but through spoken law. Most people do not realize that their financial reality is not just the result of what they do, but what they believe and say repeatedly. You can work hard, sacrifice, hustle endlessly, and still struggle. Because if your inner dialogue says, but through spoken law, money is hard to come by, or I never have enough, or I'm just trying to get by, then that is the command your world obeys. The law does not judge, it simply responds. And it responds faithfully every time to the vibration behind your words. Your word is your wand. This is not pudic. It is literal. When you speak something with conviction, you impress the subconscious mind. And once the subconscious is impressed, it will do whatever it must to bring that image into form. But not only does your word affect your own mind, it affects the spiritual substance that surrounds you. Your words vibrate. They carry power. They move spoken energy. They summon circumstances, people, and resources into your path. So if you are careless with your words, you are careless with your wealth. To believe boldly is to declare in spite of evidence. It is to say, I am rich, even when your bank account says otherwise. It is to say, I receive with ease, when bills are due, through spoken law. It is to speak as if what you desire is already true, not because you are pretending, but because you are creating, through spoken law. The outer always lags behind the inner, and the one who commands wealth knows this. They do not wait to feel wealthy to speak wealth. They speak it until it must appear. They speak it with the full faith that their word is law and the universe is listening. Many fear this idea, through spoken law, thinking it is arrogant or unrealistic to speak riches when reality suggests lack. But it is not arrogance to agree with divine truth. Spoken law. You were not created to suffer financially. You were not designed to beg or chase. You were born into a universe of perfect supply, but through spoken law, and your bold belief the magnet draws this supply toward you. Faith is not passive, it is powerful. It speaks before it sees. Through spoken law, it declares before it touches. And what is declared with unwavering belief must materialize, for that is the law. You must remember that your voice is not small in spiritual realms. It may sound soft to the human ear, but to the forces of the universe, it is thunder. Every time you say, I am abundant, you awaken cells, shift frequencies, stir the others into movement. Every time you say, money flows to me now, you send out a current of energy that magnetizes opportunity. But the key is belief. The words alone are not enough. They must be charged with faith. They must be filled with feeling. You must speak not like someone asking, but like someone remembering. Bold belief does not entertain doubt for long. It may hear the voice of fear, but it answers back with truth. But through spoken law, it does not get seduced by delay or discouraged by appearances. It holds fast to the invisible, knowing that what is seen is temporary. It knows that the field of all potential is activated by trust, and that the spiritual law of wealth is exact. It cannot fail, but it must be activated, but through spoken law, and belief is the activator. The more boldly you believe, the more quickly substance responds. You must stop rehearsing lack in your speech. Through spoken law, you must stop speaking as if money is an enemy, as if prices are too high, as if life is too expensive. Every complaint is a creative act, but through spoken law, every time you say, I can't afford that, you push it further away. Every time you say, things are tight, the law echoes that back. Spoken law, your words shape your path, and wealth only walks where it is welcomed. Welcome it by speaking to it like a friend. Invite it by blessing it in every form. Do not talk about shortage and expect surplus to come. Your conversation must match your desire. Speak to money with the dignity of someone who knows their inheritance. Say, money loves me. Say, I am a magnet for financial blessings. Say, but through spoken law, my income increases constantly. Do not say these words just to try them. Say them because you know they are true on a higher level. Even if the outer world hasn't caught up yet, your spirit knows. And when spirit speaks, substance follows. Do not be timid with your affirmations. Through spoken law, whispering a truth in fear does not carry the same weight as declaring it with certainty. The universe does not respond to hesitation. It responds to conviction. Speak boldly, walk boldly, think boldly. Let your belief be fierce and unshakable. If a thought of doubt arises, replace it immediately with a word of power. Say, I reject lack. Say, I choose spoken law. Choose increase. Say, divine wealth is mine now. Every time you do this, you rewrite the script of your life. Wealth is not just something you earn, it is something you embody. It is not just a number. It is a vibration. And that vibration begins in belief. Through spoken law, the deeper the belief, the stronger the current. And when belief is paired with the spoken word, it becomes unstoppable. You may not see results immediately, but the shift begins the moment you speak. The energy begins to move, the doors begin to open, the opportunities begin to form. Keep believing. Keep declaring. Because in the realm of spirit, your word has already been received, but through spoken law, prosperity flows through alignment, not effort. The world has conditioned us to believe that hard work alone guarantees wealth. Spoken law, that endless striving and sacrifice are the golden keys to abundance. But the truth is far more liberating and far more spiritual. But through spoken law, money flows not to those who grind the hardest, but to those who are most aligned with their divine purpose and inner truth. But through spoken law, alignment is the invisible river beneath the surface of life, and when you step into it, all things begin to move with you. Law. You do not chase money in alignment. Money comes toward you, guided by the current of your authentic energy. There are those who toil from dawn to dusk through spoken law, filling every hour with tasks and effort, yet still find themselves stuck in the same financial cycle. Why? Because they are not aligned. Through spoken law, their energy is scattered, their actions are rooted in fear, their decisions are based on survival rather than creation. Spoken law. Effort without alignment is like rowing against the tide. It tires you but takes you nowhere. When you align first, even the smallest action becomes potent. It carries the full force of universal support. It becomes a spark that ignites unseen forces working on your behalf. Alignment begins within. It is the result of knowing who you are and standing in that knowing without apology. It is not perfection, it is precision. It is clarity of intention, purity of desire, and trust in divine guidance. When your thoughts, words, emotions, through spoken law, and actions are congruent, when they point in the same direction, then you become magnetic. You become a lighthouse for wealth. Prosperity recognizes you because you are radiating the frequency that calls it in. In misalignment, you may act out of desperation, but through spoken law, you may take jobs you hate, sell things you don't believe in, or suppress your intuition because fear tells you it's too risky to follow your joy. You through spoken law. But every time you betray your inner voice for the illusion of safety, you disconnect from the current of abundance. Money may still come, but through spoken law, but it will come through struggle. It will feel heavy, fleeting, or hard to hold. But through spoken law, you will exhaust yourself trying to keep up with a system that was never designed for your soul. But when you return to alignment, when you listen, trust, and follow your divine rhythm, everything begins to flow. Ideas come easily. Opportunities appear without force. The right people show up. The timing aligns. You cannot fake alignment. You cannot trick the universe into believing you are in integrity when you are living in resistance. Your energy speaks louder than your effort. It is not about how many hours you work. It is about the frequency you hold while you work. A single aligned decision can do more for your prosperity than 100 frantic actions. That is why rest is sacred. That is why silence, prayer, but through spoken law, and meditation are not luxuries but necessities. They tune you back to the frequency of truth. They bring your spirit into harmony with divine flow. Alignment does not mean inactivity. It means inspired activity. When you are aligned, you are moved by clarity, not pressure. You take action, but it is light, joyful, and filled with purpose. There is no fear behind it. There is no rush, no forcing, no compromising of your values. Through spoken law, you act from fullness, not from lack. And this kind of action carries the energy of confidence and faith. It tells the universe, I trust that what I desire is already mine, and I move now because I am guided. When you prioritize alignment, you stop chasing what doesn't resonate. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop saying yes when your soul means no. You honor your own timing, but through spoken law. You trust your intuition more than the noise of the world, and in that trust you become powerful. Through spoken law, you step into the rhythm of your own prosperity path, a path only you can walk, a path that opens each time you take a step in faith. The aligned person is not frantic. They are grounded. They know that what is meant for them cannot miss them. Spoken law. They do not try to control outcomes or manipulate circumstances. They align, they act, they allow. Spoken law. They know that abundance is not something they earn. It is something they allow. It is already here, already surrounding them. Through spoken law, already encoded in their spiritual DNA. They do not work to get it, they work to express it. They offer their gifts with joy. And money becomes a natural byproduct of that joy. Misalignment, on the other hand, creates tension. It manifests as anxiety, burnout, resentment. And through spoken law and confusion, it clouds your vision and makes you forget who you are. In misalignment, even success feels empty. You may hit a number, reach a goal, but through spoken law. But it will not fulfill you because it came at the cost of your inner peace. But alignment fills you as you rise. It blesses you while you build, but through spoken law, it carries you and it carries around you because it is rooted in something higher than ambition. It is rooted in purpose, but through spoken law, you do not need to prove your worth through effort. Your worth is inherent. You were created worthy, but through spoken law, and your alignment is your agreement with that worthiness. When you remember that, you stop overcompensating. You stop hiding behind business. You give yourself permission to receive with ease. You say, I am enough. I do enough. I allow my good to find me. And in that allowing law, you open the gates for prosperity to pour in. Your income is not determined by how hard you work, but by how aligned you are with your soul's calling. Through spoken law, the clearer you are, the faster things unfold. The more authentically you live, the more channels open. You may still work, but it is not a burden, but through spoken law. It is a blessing. It is not energizing, because now you are not pushing against life, you are flowing with it. Through spoken law, you are not chasing after money, you are allowing it to follow you, to be drawn to your energy, to reflect the value you naturally radiate. But through spoken law, you are not here to suffer for your success. You are not here to exhaust yourself in exchange for scraps of security. You are here to walk in divine flow, but through spoken law, to align with truth, to prosper by grace. You are here to remember that alignment is the most powerful currency you possess. When you are aligned, but through spoken law, the universe recognizes you. It moves mountains for you. It places miracles in your path, not because you've earned them through struggle, through spoken law, but because you've yes to your higher self. You've said yes to harmony. You've said yes to being in the right place at the right time, but through spoken law, doing the right thing with the right energy. And that, more than anything else, is what opens the floodgates of prosperity. Affirmations are seeds of financial increase. Every word you speak is a seed, through spoken law, and every seed carries the full potential of what it is destined to become. Just as an oak tree exists within the acorn, through spoken law, wealth exists within the words you plant in the soil of your consciousness. You do not see the harvest immediately, but you must trust the process. Through spoken law, you must speak with faith, knowing your affirmations are not empty sounds. They are creative forces. Spoken law, sacred immense shaping your financial destiny. When you affirm abundance, you are not lying. You are not pretending. Spoken law, you are speaking truth ahead of its physical appearance. The visible world is slow to reflect the unseen through spoken law, but the unseen responds instantly to your vibration. The moment you say, I am prosperous, the energy of prosperity begins to move toward you. Through spoken law, it begins to shift the atmosphere around you. It begins to awaken ideas, align circumstances, open doors. You may not see results the same day through spoken law, but the wheels have turned, the seed has broken open, and something invisible has begun to grow. Affirmations are acts of faith. Through spoken law, you are declaring what is real in spirit, even if it has not yet arrived in form. You are claiming your inheritance, but through spoken law, you are watering your future with words of power. Doubt may whisper, but look at your account, look at your bills, look at your past. But faith replies, I do not live by sight, I live by divine knowing. But through spoken law, what I speak with belief must become. Your words are not casual, they are spiritual commands. Every affirmation sends a signal to the universe, a vibration that reshapes your relationship with money. You must choose your words carefully. You must be deliberate, not passive, in your speech. Many affirm lack without realizing it. They say, through spoken law, I never have enough, or money doesn't grow on trees, or that's too expensive for me. These are affirmations too, and they are just as powerful, but in reverse. They create scarcity, they close doors, they lower vibration, they harden the soil, making it more difficult for abundance to take root. You cannot speak poverty and expect prosperity. You cannot curse money and expect it to bless you. To affirm wealth is to align with it. Your words must match the frequency of what you desire. If you want more money, speak about money as a friend, not an enemy. Say, money comes to me easily and often. Say, I am aligned with wealth. Say, I receive money from expected and unexpected sources. Do not say these things half-heartedly. Say them with certainty. Feel them as you speak them. Through spoken law, let the vibration rise in your chest, in your bones, in your energy field. Speak as though you are calling something home, not chasing it. The key to affirmations is repetition and belief. A seed does not bloom the day it is planted. It requires consistent care, sunlight, water, and trust. Your mind is the soil. Your affirmations are the seeds. Your belief is the sunlight. Your emotion is the water, but through spoken law. And your consistency is what keeps the process alive. When you affirm daily, you are tilling the ground, removing weeds of doubt, but through spoken law and allowing the vision to anchor more deeply. The longer you hold your affirmation, the stronger its roots grow beneath the surface. Preparing to break into the visible. Every time you speak an affirmation, you are shifting your internal identity. You are telling your subconscious mind, this is who I am now. And the subconscious mind will always find ways to make your outer world match your inner self concept. If you keep saying, I struggle financially, your subconscious will ensure your behavior, decisions, and circumstances reflect that. But if you begin to say, I am financially free, your subconscious begins to scan for evidence of that truth, guiding you toward actions, people, and ideas that affirm it in return. Do not wait to feel wealthy before you affirm wealth. You feel after you affirm, not before. The mind follows the words. Your vibration rises through declaration. Affirm even when it feels silly. Affirm even when your reality resists it, especially then, because that is when the seed is being tested. That is when your roots are growing deeper. But through spoken law, you are not here to be ruled by circumstances. You are here to command them. Your word has power. You must use it as a builder, not a destroyer. Through spoken law, create a ritual of affirmation. Speak your truths in the morning before the world speaks its noise. Say them aloud, write them down, spoken law, chant them while walking, whisper them before sleep. Let them saturate your subconscious. Let them become your inner soundtrack. You do not need 1,000 affirmations. You need a few that are alive with meaning, repeated with faith, and rooted in conviction. Even one affirmation, if spoken consistently and believed wholeheartedly, can change the entire trajectory of your financial life. Through spoken law, affirmations are not magic spells. They are invitations. They open your awareness. They raise your expectation. But through spoken law, they train your mind to look for prosperity instead of problems. They help you notice opportunities where once you saw none. Through spoken law, they rewire your nervous system to feel safe receiving more. They soften your resistance and strengthen your self-worth. But through spoken law, they are not just about getting money. They are about becoming the version of you who allows it. Spoken law. Speak as though your words carry weight, because they do. Every phrase you utter is planting something. Are you planting roses or thorns? But through spoken law, are you growing gardens in deserts of limitation? Let your mouth become a channel for wealth. Let your speech overflow with possibility. Let your affirmations be sacred, intentional, full of gratitude and joy. Say, I am aligned with divine wealth. Say, abundance flows to me now. Say, I live in a universe that supports me richly. You must not allow the noise of the world to cancel out your sacred declarations. People may scoff, but through spoken law, circumstances may challenge, but you must remain loyal to the vision you are speaking into being. But through spoken law, you are not affirming to convince others. You are affirming to command energy, to activate laws, to build your reality from the inside out. But through spoken law, the world catches up to one who speaks with faith. The harvest comes to the one who does not grow weary in well-doing. Use your affirmations as tools of transformation. Let them cleanse your old stories. Let them overwrite the scripts of scarcity you inherited. Spoken law. You are not repeating empty words. You are writing new code. You are updating the program. You are stepping into a frequency where wealth is normal. But through spoken law, where overflow is expected, where increase is continuous, speak as if it is already done. Feel as though it is already yours. Through spoken law, act as though the universe is already arranging the details. Because when your affirmation becomes your identity, the money must come. Divine substance supplies without limit. This truth stands beyond the boundaries of logic, economy, or history. It is not measured by numbers or constrained by human reasoning. Divine substance is the invisible essence behind all material things. The spiritual reality behind the form you touch, the money you spend, the home you live in, the opportunities that appear. It is inexhaustible, infinite, and always present. It is not earned, it is aligned with it through spoken law. It is not scarce, it is limitless. When you understand this, you stop looking to people, jobs, or systems as your source. You begin to see through appearances and recognize the divine supply working beneath it all. Most people live in fear of running out, of time, of money, but through spoken law, of chances, they believe there is not enough to go around. They have been trained to see the world through the lens of scarcity, to measure and hoard and compete. But this is a distortion of spiritual truth. There is no shortage in divine substance. It cannot be depleted. It is not stored in banks or bound to economies. It is spiritual in nature and moves in response to faith, alignment, and expectation, but through spoken law. When you think you must fight for your portion, you forget that you are already connected to the infinite source of all good. The divine does not ration your blessings. It does not withhold based on your past, your background, or your mistakes. It pours itself out fully and freely to all who are open to receive. Your ability to receive is not based on deserving. It is based on belief, through spoken law. If you believe that divine substance is limited, you will live within a small container, but through spoken law, you will experience the reflection of that belief in your finances, in your opportunities, in your lifestyle. But if you expand your awareness, if you say, "There is more than enough for me and everyone," then you open a larger channel. You allow the flow to increase, but through spoken law. You are not separate from divine substance. You are made of it. You are an expression of the same creative intelligence that formed the stars and oceans. The same essence that paints flowers and lifts the sun is moving through you now, but through spoken law. You are not begging for resources from something outside of you. You are awakening to the truth that the source of all provision lies within you. Your connection is not external. It is internal, spiritual, ever present. When you look inward and trust that source, you unlock miracles. Divine substance expresses itself through forms, but it is not confined to those forms. Your job is not your source. It is one channel. Your business is not your supply. It is one outlet. People, clients, investments, opportunities. These are all expressions of substance, not the source itself. If one door closes, another opens. If one stream dries up, a new one appears. The supply never ends because the source is eternal. It is not limited by conditions. It is not held back by circumstances. It is governed by spiritual law, not material systems. When you align with divine substance, you stop living in fear. You stop clutching and grasping. You begin to walk in peace. Through spoken law, you begin to trust that all your needs are met in perfect timing and in perfect ways. You release the urge to control, to force, to manipulate outcomes. Through spoken law, you know that you are supported, not because you see the support, but because you know the source never fails. Your trust becomes your anchor. Your faith becomes your security. You are not depending on luck. You are moving in divine rhythm. Divine substance responds to clarity, but through spoken law, it responds to vision. It flows where there is openness, where there is preparation, where there is expectancy. If you do not expect increase, but through spoken law, you are closing the gate. If you expect things to get worse, you are blocking the flow. But when you wake up each day with gratitude and say, "I know my supply is here. I know it is unfolding," you invite more of it to express through your life. Through spoken law, your attitude is the atmosphere in which divine substance manifests. You must stop measuring divine supply by material appearances. You may look at your current balance, your income, your environment, and feel discouraged. But the visible is only a reflection of your past beliefs. It is old energy. Divine substance is always ahead of what you see. It is always ready to expand, to multiply, to renew. When you shift your focus from what is lacking to what is available in spirit, your outer world begins to rearrange. The invisible responds first, through spoken law, and then the visible catches up. Do not limit your dreams to what think you can afford. Do not shrink your vision to match your bank account. That is not faith. That is fear disguised as practicality. Your supply is not based on human logic. It is based on spiritual law. If the dream is in you, but through spoken law, the supply is for you. Divine substance will find a way when you hold the vision with trust. It will open doors you didn't know existed, but through spoken law, it will connect you to people, ideas, and channels that you could never plan with your intellect alone. You must also remember that divine substance does not only come in the form of money. It comes as ideas, as inspiration, as intuition, through spoken law. It comes as guidance to take a step, to send a message, to follow a nudge. It comes as peace in the middle of uncertainty, through spoken law. It comes as confidence when others fear. It comes as an inner knowing that you are held, provided for, and divinely led. Through spoken law, when you stop looking only for dollars and begin to recognize the substance behind them, you will see that you are already surrounded by wealth. You do not need to convince the universe to support you. It already does. You do not need to earn its favor. It has already said yes. Your only job is to align, to trust, to speak increase, to act with faith, to give thanks for the substance before it takes form. Spoken law. You do not need to understand how it will come. You only need to know that it will, and in that knowing you relax. You release fear. Through spoken law, you open your hands and your heart, and you allow divine substance to take shape in your life.